Welcome back, guys. We have the highlights straight into this one here, as you guys can see exactly how BBQ got a big lead in Game 3, but then threw it all away right at the end.
Felt like a bit like a steam train robbery, a bit of a heist came through here from ROX Tigers, because BBQ were in control for the great majority of this game. And then at the end, the extra AD carry, the Sivir scaling has been confirmed so many times in recent history. Looked like it was going to be an IgNar highlight reel in this particular one. It was certainly one-sided the way of BBQ until one fight decided it all.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where trick shot calling and skill shot dodging ability allowed them to get a bit ahead. Tempt gets caught here, not respecting the CC that everybody can do. And this is IgNar's big flank from behind, right behind Lava, where he just gets him out of position. He goes down, and then from there it's a 5-on-4. They eventually get the Baron after this play.
Sivir's ability to extend games, I think, is second to none. You know, we always talk about good wave clear. Victor, for example, is the prototypical champion. But with almost no exception, Baron buff answers every good wave clear champion except Sivir. Sivir can extend games to an insane degree, and you hear the ROX Tigers fangirls call, because this is the moment where a single mistake is made. It cascades into further mistakes, all starting with Crazy, and nobody's a super tank when Corki and Sivir at 6 items are hitting you, and they love Sangyoon, that's for sure.
Well, he was a big part of the reason why they were able to delay it this long, as you were talking about. So, well done by the Sivir. 32% damage participation, or percentage rather. Gets his first MVP of the LCK. And he's getting up there. He's getting close to 1,000 kills already, Sangyoon is.
Makes you start wondering about the famous meme of just a Sivir comp, because these Sivir comps are winning more often than not. Doing very good stuff there. In the late game was Sangyoon, who was the star in summer, and have been up and down so far. A bit of a non-factor in Game 1, but got to make his presence known right at the end of Game 2. And what was looking like it would be a 2-0 for BBQ to parlay into their big match against KT on Friday is suddenly a third game with a lot up in the air.
Definitely is. This time, BBQ is going to be back on the blue side, so they'll have more freedom with their bans, and perhaps you target something like the Sivir or you know, the Seonghwan definitely will not make it through once again. So let's go ahead and jump into ban pick for game number 3.
Seonghwan is the first ban, so good prediction there, Valdez. First pick for BBQ on blue's side was the Kog'Maw last time they were on that side of the draft, and it ended up working a treat for them. They don't want to necessarily surrender the Sivir, but is Sivir a banned champion yet? The answer seems to probably be no. We'll see if the drafting style on the red side for ROX Tigers changes. They've been razor-focused on banning Tempt's champion pool, Xayah, Ryze, and Zoe, with the 3 bans in Game 1, and they're going to take a little time to adjust. Maybe they're going to play around and leave the Zoe open. I'd love to see some Tempt Zoe, but we just seeing it, even when it's been banned, the games where it's been left open, it hasn't been that common a pick, because that's a surprising ban here.
Yeah.
Lava has had quite a few games in a row where he's been a non-factor. He was decent on the Corki, but the safety of the Corki seems to be something they don't want to allow Lava to pick up. Maybe try and force him onto an Orianna out of meta or something like that.
Yeah.
They feel like they can exploit, and there is going to be a second mid lane ban, but it's a different one. So Ryze is very conspicuously available at first pick. So is Ezreal. It's a potential trade of power available in the first round of the draft.
I think if I were BBQ, I would go for the Ryze. There's so much power on that Tempt. You can allow Ghost to go for something else, but instead, they're thinking about a Zac first pick. It makes sense with the Corki ban, but now you're giving both Ezreal and Ryze away.
It's a really big reach for the Zac. To me, that says that both Ghost doesn't prioritize Ezreal and Tempt doesn't prioritize Ryze, which almost for future opponents, you look at this and you're like, interesting. Because now you can play a bit more fast and loose with your bans. So this reveals a lot about BBQ's tendencies. It's very surprising to me. Gonna look on the ROX Tigers side, and even with Gnar available, very early lock in on the Ornn. Should be noted that Key has already played it in the support role, so it is a flex pick for the side of ROX Tigers.
Yeah, definitely a good pick for them there. Haven't seen it just yet. And as you mentioned, there still are some counters left available, but surprisingly this time around they want to go for it. And now they're going to pick up Vladimir. So another flex pick, I suppose.
Could
for
be
the
a
side
mid
of
lane
ROX.
Vladimir here.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see this prize. I know Kuzan's been, predictably, it's Kuzan, been practicing Vladimir in solo queue. Vladimir also kind of is happy to see someone like a Varus, because it's someone they can potentially flank, even if Lindarang had an exercise in frustration about that. So the draft has been a bit peculiar so far from both BBQ in their first pick, but also ROX Tigers' red side draft. You just take Gnar and have the trifecta of champions on the red side that can top lane, but probably aren't all going to be top laning. Waiting to see. Very early Galio, so we're going in hard, boys. We're definitely initiating here.
Yeah, definitely, Papa. We got Galio in mid lane, Vlad top, and then the support, Ornn.
So with Malzahar off, what do you lane against Galio? It feels like we're kind of like furiously going through our 2017 notes. The one that didn't work in Korea was Crown trying the mid lane Fiora. That was a failure.
I was about to mention it, but yeah, not going to be a Gnar mid either, Papa.
So far, it's pretty obviously going to be Vlad top and a support Ornn.
Yeah.
What will Crazy want to do in this scenario? It's kind of intriguing where the solo lanes will go for the side of BBQ.
Sivir's gone. Fans of 60-minute games all cry out in terror.
Actually a really good ban, because you look at 3 hunking tanks that want to dash in there, and movement speed would be lovely for them. Would also be just the most wave clear you could ever talk about in the history of League of Legends, so smart ban away. Ryze very late ban. Ryze, basically everything gets a free lane against Galio, so it's another champion that could build. If you take an Abyssal Mast champion here, you're getting so much value that they just don't want that to be a consideration. Sangyoon now has his choice. Not traditionally an Ezreal player, but looks like they're just going to look past the Ezreal. Fans like to see him, considering the Xayah was a big pick for him in summer when Kalista was down.
Yeah. And when Galio was in too, right? Gets in front of you so you can lay down your feathers and really just add even more CC to the pile.
Also kind of counterintuitive, but you can ult and also have Galio ult on top of you while you're uninterruptible to try to turn an engagement. So does end up being the Xayah, as we're wondering what we're going to see from Tempt, and this would certainly be no surprise, if not for being a bit out of meta. He is well known for his Taliyah play, got a pentakill on Taliyah in spring season of last year, and he locks it in anyway. So very interesting to see Taliyah suggests BBQ want to play a proactive draft in the mid lane, in the early to mid game, even with a Zac draft. So I'll to see if Trick can avoid the level 1 pitfall of blowing flash and actually be proactive. I think it's a lot to ask for a Zac in the early game. And now what do you lane against Vladimir if you're Crazy? Gnar is taken away. That would have been a winning lane matchup. The Cho'Gath is a European special, so it's been a really big pick in EU LCS. You can win lane pretty hard. You can rush Abyssal Mast, and in this game, you feel like you're countering the entire team, short of the Xayah. Seonghwan's famous jungler, if you had to ask me, was Elise, but it'd be an insane amount of magic damage, so I think Jarvan is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, the Kha'Zix was still available if you wanted to go for like the Kha'Zix Galio, but Jarvan Galio, even better. You can really close the distance and get into that back line to make the Galio work this time around in a way that it did not work in game number 1.
I'm going to be honest, actually, Varus. I actually like what ROX Tigers have done. When they selected the Galio, Vladimir, and Ornn in the first round, I was like, well, we're really showing our cards, but consider who the threats are for BBQ. It's Taliyah and Varus. Ornn, Galio, Vlad, Jarvan's going to have a field day just mowing them down. None of them have escape abilities for inside combat. I feel like you're going to have to rush Banshee Veil, even though it's a very low power item on the Taliyah, at least early. Item-wise, awkward. I think in the early laning phase, Vlad is definitely going to be having to contend with the Cho'Gath, and also Taliyah does well. So I think early laning, BBQ in almost every way went out, but then they kind of slowed down by Zac's normal farming phase. Trick to me has to be a match winner. He has to be very creative with his early game pass, kind of defy the expectations for Galio, because outside of big misplays from the ROX Tigers on Engage, and there's so much of it, it seems impossible, Jarvan, Galio, and they've even got Ornn on top of that from the support role, or some really impressive map movements. It just feels like if you want to flank a team, and it looks like it's very possible with BBQ.
Well, we'll see what they can do. They will have IgNar on the Braum this time around, so will be one of the key components. Can obviously stop the Ornn from engaging pretty well and can disengage quite nicely with his own ultimate. But either way, guys, we're going to jump into game number 3 right now, BBQ versus ROX. Here we go, match 10, game 3. BBQ looking for their second win. See what they can do. They defeated Kongdu Monster before, looking to go up the ladder, defeat ROX Tigers.
Today, 10 matches done, 80 to go. 90 matches in the regular season.
Already 1/9 of the way through, Papa. It's been a tiring 10 matches for you, but you've made it through. How are you feeling?
I get reinvigorated. Good League of Legends is something I really enjoy. It's one of those things where it is a true pleasure to be involved in the cast. And sure, the 6 days in a row this week is going to be a challenge. Yeah. Maybe ask me again on Friday.
With your birthday
and
in
then
between.
Ask me again on Sunday. Yes, the birthday boy 4th match day on Friday is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Even though we've had our share of slow games, I'm happy that today we've had some teams who actually have been able to play very proactive in the early game. We've had a couple of games that have turned the meta on its head, but then you look on the side of ROX Tigers and you see 5 stopwatches and you start wondering. 7 stopwatch games.
5 stopwatches across the board.
Successful ganks post 6 are going to be painful, and ROX Tigers get to keep going. Again, to me, BBQ's draft, when you really compare it to the enemy, kind of has to be win lane, win game. They have the tools to do that, but win lane, win game in LCK, that's not usually a winning strategy.
Doesn't really happen unless you're Khan playing Jace, but outside of that, doesn't really happen. BBQ not necessarily known for popping off with one of their solo laners, just getting super far ahead as well. So. See what they can do. IgNar coming in for a ward will spot Seonghwan at the Gromp.
Wants to steal it with a Q. Seonghwan body blocking.
Just a bit of extra damage. Can deny that blasting plant as well.
Something I don't see enough people do in solo queue is just taking out the blasting plant, especially if you're a ranged support. You just pop over a ward, take out the blasting plant, and your life is so much safer. It's the standard ganking route. If you're on red side as a jungler.
Arcane Comet on a Cho'Gath. Kind of interesting, adds some extra poke on in there. You guys don't really get to see Cho'Gath too often, but did go into sorcery. Curious to see if he got his ultimate hat. I would have to assume he did.
Seems like a pretty heavy investment into sorcery, though. I would have thought it would be Unsealed Spellbook, but wanted to go into the Resolve tree as well, so in the end, not going to be the Unsealed Spellbook. Ghost in late game team fights, obviously unlikely given that you often have to take teleport, but I guess Righteous Glory will have to do. But Comet gives more laning, and if you're able to hold down Vladimir in laning phase, that's what you have drafted the Cho'Gath for, I guess you have to say.
Trick isn't failing the power farming this time around with the blue and the Gromp.
It's not taking them both at the same time, so maybe it's just admitted defeat.
Yeah. Seonghwan getting pretty deep in there. Oh, he's just walking through. Okay. Gonna lay down a ward at the blue.
He's got the bad news. If it was a full power farm from Trick, would have been caught there is actually going to be Trick finding his opponent.
They're going to go for this. Oh, nice dodge there by Seonghwan. A little bit of a stutter step back. gets him into safety. If he got hit by that, that's the knock-up by Taliyah, and you're looking at a flash
Wrong
early.
way on the Unbreakable there from IgNar, but doesn't have to flash.
Yeah.
Awkward. Bad look there.
Definitely Observer catching it just in time to his embarrassment. They're looking for a stun now onto Key, just trading some damage back. You notice Sangyoon is very low on mana.
They don't have deep vision, and Ghost was tanking the minion line, so it didn't take a fantastic trade there.
IgNar not scared of anything. He's got a pretty big shield.
We are still on patch 8.1, so there is still the ability to override CC with the Bellows Breath, the W from the Ornn, and in the ultra late game, we do also have the Ornn upgradable items, which mean that in those late game fights, despite having Galio, they will be able to just get access to more item slots with that kind of pseudo 7th item or upgraded item. So it's kind of a happy thing to bring from support. So just kind of AoE initiation, and in the tank support meta where you're probably facing what? Taric or Alistair or Braum or Tahm Kench. It's not like Ornn's going to have a tough time laning, so very decent choice.
Yeah. Will we ever see a team take advantage of that in the bottom lane? I suppose it's the hyper carries are too good, really, to allow that to happen.
I think we might see if a team picks up Ezreal, considering going for range support, something like Ezreal Brand could be done against, you know, let's say Sivir Tahm Kench or something like that. I think that would definitely be a scenario. The Sivir would still get extra back, so the Sivir would probably opt into taking a lot of the harass.
The Sivir would take teleport and relic shield and never die anyway, so we wouldn't see it ever again.
I do think we'll see MVP, because MVP's been the one team that's like, you know, screw this like hyper carry meta.
Yeah.
We're going to take in lots of Nidalee games. We're going to try and take very proactive early game trades and almost to the win, at least in one of the games, over KT. So I think there is the outside chance we see something like a Brand that got a really big buff on patch 8.1, but is there a guarantee? Absolutely not. You know, the safety is in tank support, and then either a Rage Blade carry or a traditional hyper carry is just the meta at the moment.
You see it a bit in solo queue, but as you mentioned, there's a huge gap in the way that solo queue is played and pro play is played nowadays. We
mentioned it in Series 1. We talked about answering the question, why do games extend the pro meta, the things we outlined. I even left one out in hindsight. You know, we talked about zombie wards. We talked about the overheal meta and all the extra healing about the stopwatches. But, you know, at the end of the day, another reason that the pro meta is kind of incomparable at the moment right now is you don't get to take red smite or blue smite. You're taking tracker's knives. There's more vision on the map than there is in solo queue as well. Yeah. You know, people were really seriously wondering, hey, like, every jungler, pro or not, was going red smite and doing damage in the preseason. What will it mean for the competitive meta? You need the vision at the highest level, and the lack of that red smite does pull away the Shyvana a little bit, and also does mean even more safety for these games to extend.
Yeah. Well, tons of vision, tons of survivability will do it, and free little blue buff handed over to Tempt, as they had massive vision in the blue side of ROX's jungle. You can see control ward there, 2 other wards down, and a pushing bot lane allow them to get that in.
Nice hit on the EQ there from Key. If you delay the Q, then you can E to it, and it's a kind of a Malphite-like, or I guess Alistair-like knock-up effect. Get to see those runes. Pretty traditional runes here, Conditioning, Demolish, and the I believe Second Wind is the name, the regen rune on the Resolve tree, and then Stopwatch and Boots. Pretty much the generic tank support rune page, if you're not going for Guardian. Oh, it is Guardian anyway.
Yeah. Would have liked to see someone else's runes, but hold that thought. We do have Featherstorm coming on out, and a flash onto Tempt, who uses his flash earlier on to get out of that Jarvan up, but it's way too much. Seonghwan now is going to pick up the first blood. Galio trying to jump away, and he will get out of tower range. Trick, unfortunately, not able to kill anyone by himself. He's still on the chase. Here comes Braum, but he's a little bit too far away. So just a first blood going over to ROX Tigers.
But just a preview of where this game will go. Those are the 3 members who will dive in and try to pick up those kills on both the Taliyah and the Varus. That's why the Taliyah draft was surprising. We said, okay, attempt to win lane, win game, but the win lane, win game got them a blue buff steal, and now just answering kill from ROX. Nice roam coming through from Lindarang, so big advantage there for the ROX Tigers, and it only gets better for them. We're going to see the earlier parts of this. It was just a rundown by Vladimir. The two of them together here after the flash, it wouldn't have been enough, but you see the question mark ping on the top side. Trix sees Lindarang coming in. He absorbs both of the ghosts, so the slow is not there, but flash, ultimate, E. It's enough damage here. They're going to overkill by a lot. The Taliyah, and we're all tanky boys, we're all beefy big boys. We're all able to jump out with our
big
ultimates.
Boys.
Yep, that's what they are.
Yeah.
What else is Galio
really
if not
are.
a big boy?
But I feel like it was also Tempt getting a little bit far forward, right? I mean, you still had Galio with flash taunt, and even though he had stopwatch, right? Even if Lindarang is not there, you're putting yourself in danger even just getting in range of the flash.
You don't often get drive-by'd by a Vladimir in pro level, so I think that was the big surprise there. But I take your point. Could have been extra safety. Hanging at the highest level is always about skirting the edge, trying to take the biggest risk without actually having a significant chance of dying. In that case, he got his calculation wrong, and because of the draft, does he have the latitude to do that? That's where your kind of criticism might be valid, because I see worrying things as the game goes on for BBQ unless the moment Rage Blade is done, they play 2 team fights and snowball the game away, perfectly. It could happen, but definitely no reliability on that for BBQ.
Yeah, the pushing has continued down in the bottom lane. That's another one where Ghost just non-stop pushes on in. They've been pretty aggressive down there with their stuns and all that good stuff. Lots of warding, and Zach being near the mid lane, just stay near Tempt and make sure he doesn't die to Galio and Seonghwan.
Whoa, this is a weird item choice. Proto Belt actually coming out. Is nice gank buff from Seonghwan.
Oh, right in the back. Crazy. He's incredibly tanky, but you've got 2 members you're going against. They got to be careful not to go too far, but that's going to be enough. The flash was a little bit too late right after the Cataclysm from the Jarvan, and Crazy will get 1v2.
Yeah, seemed surprised by the damage from Seonghwan. It's a warrior in chat, Jarvan, so going to probably be going for Black Cleaver into Guardian Angel with the stopwatch here. So going for the DPS build. That's because he's just ulting vaguely in the direction of the 2 carries. The AoE damage is guaranteed if they're inside the Cataclysm walls, and the game plan from ROX is straightforward, but so far it's been damn effective.
Yeah, they weren't scared to show their hand, as you were saying. Just pick all the engaged tanky guys and just get in there. So first blood given over to Seonghwan. He's sitting at 2-0-0.
Does mean the DPS build comes earlier. When you come online from the jungle with Warrior Enchant, the Black Cleaver, and also the Guardian Angel pre-30 minutes, you're a monster. And it's the sort of thing that can happen in these snowboard games. It does feel great. You are super powerful, assuming the rest of your team is doing well, which if you have that many kills as jungler, your laner's probably doing well as well. Can mean a lot, whereas Trick is on much more the non-factor when it comes to damage threat from the jungle on the Zac.
Yeah. He's been power farming up. He's at 80 CS so far, but never really had an option to go for a gank anywhere. They didn't look for anything bottom side. Mid lane is that Galio. Once again, they don't have Tom Kent's to roam up with the Abyssal Voyage like they did in Game 1 to help out with a gank in the mid lane. They also don't have the lockdown from the Malzahar, which makes it even harder.
So there's 2 tools we have to look for in team fights if we do get fairly close gold team fights, which seems likely. You can see there's still a gold lead for BBQ despite being down 2-0 in kills. 2 kind of very important abilities we have to talk about. Braum's ability to interrupt the Ornn ultimate will be powerful. Doesn't mean he's not going to be in position to block further ultimates, but Braum and his ability to unbreakable the Ornn ultimates, an interaction that we will be talking about a lot this year, given that Ornn will be picked a lot. But also Cho'Gath just getting tanky enough to silence one-shot Sangyoon. If Sangyoon is dead at the start of a fight, there's a chance you can turn around. A couple of Locket Shields, Ghost and Tempt live, Sangyoon's one-shot, which we saw happen in EU LCS multiple times. Then there is that potential for victory for BBQ, but sort of stuff we don't see in Korea. It's our first Cho'Gath of the season. See how it goes here.
Yeah, champions that have the ability to just like one-click you definitely will show their face from time to time, even in places such as Korea that tend to, move away from gimmicky stuff like that. But So far, it's shown that it has a good presence up in the top lane, right? It's doing very well against the Vladimir, who has no kill pressure, has more CS. Hold that thought. We are going to go for a bit of an engage. Nice. Does get blocked by the Braum, but they're still going in for the flash and the knock-up. There's the Jarvan for the follow-up. A Trick going for the counter-engage, but here comes Galio. IgNar is super low. Can they actually get the taunt? It's going to miss just barely. Kidnap coming in, Seonghwan getting low, but he is going to live with the heal. But here comes Tempt. Not really able to follow up, but successfully gets out of there. Only IgNar goes down in the trade.
Bit of a misread there, I think, from Trick, who took a long time to jump in. Galio was always going to rotate first, even with the speed of the Weaver's Wall available for Tempt, and Tempt wasn't going to go in aggressively to try to clean up kills. So IgNar goes down. It's still another trade up for the ROX Tigers. We wanted to see win lane, win game from BBQ. We have not.
Okay, we're going to have another engage here from Trick. I feel like he's basically just helping Ghost stay in this lane at this point.
He just wants to get a preferential back timing for him to push up. Ghost had the rage bait. You saw a fight where he was able to free hit, maybe being a win for BBQ, but IgNar going down. Trick being there late, so not actually being able to disrupt and kind of keep his carry alive. I'm going to watch the replay. So things start here. The Ornn ultimate is blocked, and you think, all right, Trick is in position. They'll be able to turn this around. Trick's watching for a long time. He might have his E on cooldown. We're not 100% sure at this juncture, but he doesn't show, and by the time he comes in, so does the Galio. No way for IgNar to live. He lives a long time on the outsides, but eventually is taken down by the Q from Lava. Tempt is full health, but all he can contribute is the Weaver's Wall. 4 members better than 3, and another kill to ROX Tigers. Proto Belt Galio. It's a new one.
Haunting guys as well. He is not going tanky.
And it's the same player.
He's going all in.
It's the same player as well. You know, we mentioned that Galios often go more offensive. I see Rod of Ages all the time. The Proto Belt has some sense, absolutely, but it's just something different. Haunting guys, it's a lot of poke. And onto the likes of Crazy and Trick will be decent percentage health damage if it is going to be the very early Leandris. Getting early AP damage is smart for a Galio. You do a lot of base damage, and you already have Ornn and also Jarvan Vlad as kind of off tanks and initiators that you can be a bit more frisky with your item build and not have to just soak damage the entire time in a team fight.
It's definitely a big part of it. After the engage, you need to secure kills, and you just need to make sure that can happen. So adding that extra bit of AP in is going to be very nice. We are going to see the Mountain Drake picked up by BBQ. So they do have that to help them out, as well as the Cho'Gath to help out with the epic monsters, quickly taking them out.
Topside control not there for BBQ, but okay, Ornn.
Okay, well, they do have that flash, but the Ornn ultimate from downtown was a little bit too far away.
Getting 2 summoners from Tempt means he will no longer be able to overextend to wave clear, so it's definitely a decent trade from the side of ROX Tigers. Flash for flash when it comes to Lava and Tempt.
So far, Tempt, getting caught out by that once again. He survives, but kind of getting out of position there. But here comes Ghost. He doesn't know this is happening. He was actually backing. He's trying to take down Seonghwan, but no hope, buddy. You're 1v3, and that's going to be the end of your life.
Yeah, it's no jungle control at all for Ghost, who's no longer a rookie player, played an entire year for BBQ last year as a starter. So need to be a bit more on the ball there, just kind of a brain fade like Ruler used to have in his early days. Taken out. Nothing else happening on the map. His team wasn't getting a lead anywhere. Not a great look from the side of Ghost.
Yeah, not so great, but they're going to go for this Rift Herald right away, perhaps trying to capitalize on Crazy pushing Lindarang out of lane. Also, after that gank, I believe a bunch of those guys had to walk all the way up. Also does have a control ward down here, so it's only going to be spotted now. Going to try to commit for the smite. They're going to knock him up, but it will go over to Trick. Even so, no steal.
They haven't picked it up yet, though. Zach was on it for a moment. We might just see a guarding of the Rift Herald buff.
Yeah.
Seems very likely, so while they're able to claim the goal, that's certainly not what you do the objective for. It lasts a really, really long time. I think it's around a minute. Might be 45 seconds, but it's longer than you'd think.
They're taking out everything here. All the wards, all the plants.
IgNar's like, I can get this.
He's gonna get it. They left it there. They didn't block it. And IgNar just swoops on in and takes it away.
It is a long time. I mean, you think about it, you're like, okay, but like denying is so strong, but being somewhere for a minute in competitive play at 19 minutes means that all your other waves are in disarray. We see that Tempt was already bot lane, so in the end, ROX thinks better of it, hopes no one is around. IgNar swoops in and actually justifies the action around the Rift Herald.
Oh, crazy. Forcing the flash after using the Righteous Glory, really just threatening that one-punch combo onto Lindarang. So a flash is gone that will hurt his engage.
One Punch Man Cho'Gath.
Yep.
There's a skin idea. Free one for you guys at Riot Games.
I mean, he's got 2 massive arms, but don't let that stop you. I like the idea.
Righteous Glory, the very standard second pick. It's like a pseudo ghost rushing in and getting the feast onto Sangyoon is going to be his gameplay pattern.
Now that the flash is down, it's really hard for Lindarang to just stay in lane against that.
Oh, interrupt on the Rift. No, just out of time. If you can knock up the Braum during the cast animation, which is long, cancels out that Rift Herald. Not able to do that. Will be first turret there. That was really close between Key and IgNar.
That means that 3 tier 1 turrets are down here for BBQ. It really makes up the majority of their gold lead at this point, even though they're down 0-4.
Farm as well.
Yeah, they really kept up in every other facet.
Win lane, win game. 20 minutes having 3 turrets down. That's definitely on par. CS lane, that's on par. 4 kills or not, might be more than 4.
Diving a turret against Ghost is possible with your composition, but maybe a little bit too far that time around.
Weirdly, Seonghwan has halted his build. You understand the Merc treads, absolutely, but kind of weird to go Warrior in chat into what is looking like it's going to be just more magic resist. The Adaptive Helm is the likely purchase, is a bit peculiar to me. I liked the idea of Galio building, Galio and Jarvan basically trying to one-shot between the two, and then Vladimir or Xayah mopping up, but obviously feels the pinch of some of the magic damage from BBQ and goes for the Adaptive Helm second. I think at that point you just go Cinderhulk and get a bit of multiplicative scaling. That's a lot of Cho'Gath damage.
It is. He's basically just been raining down spikes on the Vladimir up in top lane for the majority of this. They're going in to Seonghwan. See what they can do. The Elastic Strike isn't going to get in on there, but they have Tempt in the back doing a ton of damage. Galio trying to save this life. Teleport coming from behind. Lindarang with another flank. That's really been the name of the game for him. He's going to hit 3 members with that ultimate. Here comes the Ornn. It's going to knock up Ghost, and that's going to be enough to take him out and route the rest of BBQ away from that fight.
And no ability to interrupt that ult that time from IgNar. Crazy was there first, but Lindarang just had to wait for the Weaver's wall to go down. Turned around, got the ult in the back line, smartly done there by the ROX Tigers. You have to ward all your flanks. They hadn't dotted all their I's or crossed all their T's for BBQ. But the death doesn't mean much, because what did we say before? All the lanes have been pushing. All the control has been there for ROX. So it kind of needs to be 2 picks to actually advance their map position any further than they already are.
Hey, you can see right after that fight, everyone from ROX recalls. And then everybody from BBQ, well, most of them, stay on the map, get more vision. Scuttle Crab down, clearing out some wards. Cho'Gath gets down to bottom first, is going to be pushing in that wave. So everything you've been saying is definitely on point. Let's see the replay here.
This is very assertive stuff from BBQ. Both Seonghwan and Key have their ultimates, so you think, okay, why are they doing this? But they also have first teleport. Vladimir has Ignite, so he has to run in. The Weaver's wall is actually stopping Lindarang and the Ghost, which is very funny to watch, behind the wall. But then he gets in the back line. IgNar's not there to put up that big unbreakable. Ghost flash down. He's dead. But like you say, there's no more of this from ROX Tigers. They all just back away and shop. They don't actually get any map control from a pick, so kind of been the story from BBQ. They've pushed until they've had to blown flashes defensively. They fought and lost a kill, but advanced their map position. Do need to turn something like a Baron on, though, and it's not necessarily the easiest to do, even if they have the extra secure from the Cho'Gath.
Taking a look at the items right now, control ward on everyone from BBQ, even though they have 1, 2, 3, 4 down right now. It looks like 5 on the one up and top side. So they've been really oppressive with pushing in the vision and making that map advantage work for them right now.
Ghost's early itemization, I think, is just more natural than Sangyoon's because he gets to build a Blade of the Ruin King third. Which get a lot of value. Wits and Blade of the Ruin King are super MVPs against the comp that ROX is running. But
they're going
no
for
flash.
It. Ghost doesn't have his flash, and Galio comes in. This is what their composition is about. Ghost is just going to disappear. Lindarang not even really there for doing most of the damage in that fight. So the easiest pick you'll ever see onto the AD carry, and now ROX is thinking about Baron.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to finish the Baron. They don't have the most Baron damage, even if everyone can help. They start onto it. Cho'Gath is far away. They need to at least use the Weaver's Wall.
Lindarang going all the way around. Looking for another flank.
Doesn't seem like the team you want to force it against, but they are so far. They're waiting for the turn. Still no turn. Now they're all caught in the pit. We could have everything happen here.
Yeah, here we go. The flash on in. There's Crazy, and it's going to go down to Xayah. Funnily enough, very close. Someone, though, getting low. Can they actually do any damage? Crazy not able to feast on that Baron, unfortunately, but will pick up one kill alone.
Yeah, I think Feast Smite was the attempt there. Feast was certainly used, I have to assume, on the Baron, but the Smite doesn't come through. Xayah, of all people, does confirm the Baron for ROX Tigers. That was a bad Baron call to finish, but they kind of had to when the Weaver's Wall was used. They were just tanking up the damage. They felt like they needed to finish, and yet just a botched attempt at the steal from BBQ should have been better with a comp like this. Actually gives ROX their first meaningful lead of the game. We're going to watch the replay here. I think ROX over-damage it. They're still doing damage to it at 3,500. Then they're stuck in the pit, and you think, all right, Crazy and Trick will get it. Crazy gets over the wall, feasts. Oh, feasts early, thinks the smite will come in. They call for the feast smite. They don't get it. I'd just say the calculation was off by Crazy. He's doing what? 1,300 damage-ish with the feast, but not enough. Should have been better, I think, but that's what happens when you allow the game to go to a game 3. We get to this scenario where everyone feels rushed, everyone feels panicked, and BBQ give up the Baron, as suddenly ROX Tigers, they're 8 kills up, but they now actually have the gold lead to go with what was the skirmishing lead early in the game.
Yep, looking good now with the Baron. They're going to push in all this gold that's left over on the turrets that weren't picked off earlier, as I was saying. BBQ was ahead 3. Now ROX will quickly follow up. There's going to be 3 turrets taken out, and they're still pushing down the mid lane here. They're about 3,500 gold ahead.
I mean, you make the wrong engage on this comp, then you're going to lose an inhibitor, so they're being very tricky here. BBQ still have a lot of options. You'll notice they have 4 out of 5 flashes up.
Okay, they're going to go for the engage here onto the Xayah, who has to flash away, but gets knocked off the wall. Kind of a funny engagement there. They at least push ROX back. I thought perhaps she would get knocked off the wall back into the kidnap, but that wasn't the case.
Galio ult also available and used to decrease the damage, so nothing doing there. Sangyoon still very, very healthy. And all this time, Lindarang was like, cool stuff in mid lane. I'm going to take a second turret in the top side.
Doing his job. So we still have the engage available for the most part here. There's the Ornn engage. Trick, you can't really stand in the front against this much lockdown, and he will pay for it. He's going to go down even with the Warmogs and how tanky he is.
Lava's a monster. He has Void Staff and a 10 stack on his stacking item there. He's doing really, really well in terms of damage. He does a lot of damage on Sorcerer's Shoes as well. You can see he's 3,000 damage more than a traditional mage in the Taliyah. The Corrupting Potion paying off and then some. Probably not going to be a Magi's, but you start to wonder. ROX Tigers feeling really, really good about this scenario. And from nowhere, you know, from nowhere in the game, they were behind in a 35-minute game into, what, 45 minutes of the second game. Really does feel like a pickpocket of a win from BBQ.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm looking at the Galio's score, 3-0-5. It looks a lot like the old school Galio in that scoreline. You can see here, Trick, he just stands in the front. He gets knocked up by the Ornn.
Trick looks at the enemy champions and he's like, oh, Ornn, you know, Galio, Jarvan. There's no damage there. The Jarvan didn't build a second damage item, but Sangyoon has 2.5 items, and this Galio is no joke. The AP ratios were buffed in the rework. He does not have basically any tankiness outside of his W resists. He would have burst down what looked like a very tanky Trick.
Yeah. 1 Q on an IgNar, even with his shield, did take him down about 15% earlier on. That's when I first noticed, like, oh, wow, even, you know, the Leandry's ticking as well. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy does some significant damage. And the thing about Galio that's always fun is that you can just push another wave in mid lane very fast, mind you, and then always be available to ult in with your heroic entrance.
Here we go. Speaking of ults.
There's the heroic entrance. It's going to get only one. Lindarang is in the back. They're trying to close in. The Ornn ultimate is going to get Ghost here in the front. Trick just going down on the side. Didn't even see him. That's going to be 2 kills going down here for ROX Tigers.
ROX Tigers was so confident, ulting under turret because they know this comp so well. You thought it was comical. Vladimir, Jarvan, Galio in the first round. It was Ornn, sorry, instead of Jarvan. What does it mean? It means they have full understanding of the limits of the Galio. It's a different Galio, so credit to Lava, playing both sides of the Galio build in the same series. They just bulldoze at every opportunity. And what did we say in Champion Select? Weird to see Taliyah and Varus selected against this draft. The Jarvan was locked in at that point. They had to know that this no escape carries were going to be preyed upon. They have done nothing. 0, 5, and 0. Sure, there's only a single kill in the game, but we have never really thought that Taliyah or the Varus were close to kills just because against this front line, given the fact you're not really orb walking, you're just trying to run away. You're like, crap, what can we do? Remember, he ults in with flashes up. You think that's fine, but there's nowhere to run when Vladimir is there as well.
Yeah. We talk about this hyper carry meta, and perhaps this is one of the ways you break right through it. Just by going balls to the wall, head right through, all the engage you can stack on one lineup. And when you get guys like Varus, it doesn't matter if you have a massive front line of Cho'Gath, Zach, and Braum. It's like they're still going to get into your back line and get to your carries anyway.
I mean, my problem is that it didn't need to be Taliyah and Varus. It really didn't. They could have gone in so many other directions, and they self-counterpicked when the enemy they picked into the enemy's draft and gave them these opportunities. The Taliyah, it's against Galio. It's a free lane. You can basically farm with anything. You know, sort of lane that Veigar looks at and wishes he could be in. And I'm not suggesting Veigar here because they had super initiation. It would have been the same problem. But there was many different ways that Tempt could go, and we praised him as an impressive player. But he just falls back too much on comfort after all his Malzahar games, and I've not been impressed with the Taliyah at all.
Well, we got a double knock up here onto Sangyoon. Isn't going to matter is really the answer here. Seonghwan going in. He gets beasts and taken out by Crazy. Lindarang trying to get some damage of his own down onto Trick and IgNar. Does a bit of that, but look at this. Now finally they get some room, and here is where Ghost gets a chance to do some damage alongside Tempt. Perhaps going too deep that time was ROX.
Seonghwan really likes ulting under turrets, what we've learned. 3rd time this game, and he's 1 for 2, which is not that great. They spot the members of ROX. ROX are not done yet. They're still full health.
Yeah, but I mean, they're sticking around for a little bit too
separated.
long. Okay, Lindarang is going to stopwatch here. Still has his flash. He definitely has to use that. The question is, can they get out? Looks like they will for now. The knock up onto Sangyoon is not enough for them to go.
Minions in the bot lane. The super minions will get a little bit of damage on the inhibitors. So that will back away. BBQ would have loved a Baron against the run of play, but not going to happen. Thanks to the Observer for showing this. Okay, game is extended. Weren't expecting that, but ROX Tigers need to take a deep breath. They're close to winning, and you can tell that Seonghwan knows it because like, yep, now. And everyone else like, whoa.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Like Sangyoon was kited out of doing damage for the entirety of, what, 3 minutes of 2 different skirmishes there. ROX turn onto Baron is spotted. Nice wards here from BBQ.
Lava, he did pick up a Medjais, by the way. He's got 10 stacks still from the Dark Seal earlier on.
What a beast.
I know, he's going for it. And, I mean, can't blame him if you don't die. Why not?
Nice turn off of the Baron. They see the TP coming in. Crazy's tanky.
Here comes Seonghwan again, and another flank from Lindarang. They get onto Ghost, and this is what we're talking about. Both Ghost and Tempt, they have nowhere to go. If you pull off an engage like that, or any kind of flank or anything, they are going to die, and that should be the end of the game. ROX too far ahead. They get the 2 carries, and now they're pushing to win.
There's nothing they can do about it, as we've said it so many times now. When they both flash at the same time, it's the ultimate go button. That's the ult they were looking for. Tanky members and Crazy with a bit of wave clear. But like you say, it's time to end.
So here we go, 5-on-3. 3 tanks, mind you, that don't really do any damage. They can kidnap. Seonghwan and Key are not super tanky, but it's going to be enough to push them out of the way. They're going for more kills, but in the end, this is going to be a win for the ROX Tigers. They come back from behind and take 2 in a row with a very nice comp in Game 3.
Really big cheers here for the ROX Tigers fans. They're so happy. They couldn't have seen this coming an hour ago when everything was painting a BBQ 2-0. But the ROX Tigers coaching staff, credit to them in Game 3 because they stuck with what they've been preparing. Clearly, this dogpile Galio comp had been working for them. And even with the self-counter picks, even with the tricky lanes, they went all in. And unfortunately, BBQ played into their hands. BBQ have done a lot of creative things. We were impressed with their use of the Ivern in previous series. They've had good moments in this series also. But big series for Lava, this last game in particular. And a big series for the ROX Tigers who, like MVP, were kind of touted as no-hopers. Suddenly these so-called no-hopers are 1-1 with a victory over SKT and a match victory over BBQ.
Finally, Seonghwan finds that magical engage, and yeah, it was very late at that point. They were trying to counter the Baron, contest the Baron, but it was just not going to work. Not against this composition. As you mentioned, it was really just a draft issue for BBQ.
I mean, they don't have Flash. You can't contest the Baron because you see how confident ROX are. They're pressing ult under turret. Yeah. They're certainly going to press ult anywhere further away from a turret. Yeah. There's no flashes up. Seemed too easy and very pensive look from IgNar, his first match defeat in Korea. No doubt going to be same sort of thing. Trick definitely seems surprised, but communicating, which is good to see.
Yeah, I like that. He's kind of like leading the discussion with the coaches in the booth, and it makes sense. He's the shot caller. Maybe they talked about stuff in the draft that they have to go over now.
And I think for BBQ, the best news story is pretty easy to diagnose the problems. There's a lot of VOD review in the the 40+ minutes of Game 2, the late game phase where they did make that mistake, and then the draft phase, what I feel let them down in Game 3. We're going to go over the numbers. Pretty insane that Galio almost did the most damage in a game, but Xayah just about powered over. But 24 minutes of this game, advantage BBQ, but our shortest game of the night, only 34 minutes. So from an even game into a 1 game in just about 6 minutes. But once those big entrance combinations came in, the cataclysmic entrance, as we've called it, the Jarvan and the Galio, there only seemed to be one winner of this game.
The combination took them by surprise, and I'm just curious to see if any other teams will try to make this work in the future. Bigger teams, can they try to bait their enemy into, first picking a Kog'Maw and then saying, okay, we're going to go all in on killing this Kog'Maw in this game?
You know what the scarier thing is, Valdez? First picking the Kog'Maw and then locking in the Galio, which you can do.
Oh,
all those old Jarvan, Galio, Kog'Maw comps, the LPL unleashed on the world are certainly not too far away now that people are being like, hey, you can play Galio in different ways. And the AP Galio here worked a treat.
Yeah. It's kind of like how sometimes when you play Jarvan, you got to go and be a little bit more of an early damage threat, and other times you just go full tank Cinderhulk because you got some carries on your team.
It felt like in this game, Seonghwan had the Mulan song playing, let's get down to business.
Yeah.
He was getting down to business. He was ulting anyone. Ult on site for this Jarvan. He might as well have had an ultimate hat. Every opportunity he went in.
In the mid lane, he saw Tempt. He's like, we're doing it. It's just like, we're going to go at any time. We're diving turrets. We're diving inhibitors. It doesn't matter. Because he knew he had the follow-up. It makes a lot of sense,
Lots of people A-click. Seonghwan R-clicks. He's like, I'm ulting someone who's there.
R-clicks.
Yep.
Gets on in there. Doesn't even try to use his knock-up first. He's like, I just want to get in there as fast as possible.
I appreciate it. Very manly from Seonghwan. Seonghwan really hadn't impressed much of a personality or much of a trait over 2 years. Now we know he's a big man, that's for sure.
And speaking of the devil, it's going to be him.
What a monster.
Very, very happy, as it says up top in Korean. 2-2-11, but really he was just the engaged guy. He was the tool for Galio to get in. And, well, it really worked out. It's so cool, too, to see Vladimir in the comp because he just enhances all the damage with his ultimate, but there's such a big front line and everybody wants to kill the Xayah that Vlad is just like, he can do whatever he wants as long as he's nearby anyone. And so he kind of had his own walk in this game and just did whatever he wanted. So guys, we are going to go into the MVP interview now with a couple of MVPs from the ROX Tigers. Of course, Suncaster to help out with the interview and G-Sun for the translation.
Interview. Sangyoon said he's really happy. What a match. A lot of ROX Tigers fans were worried about today's match. But you finally got a victory. How do you feel? I think it's more meaningful because when our player from our team went to other team, I really want to win against him. And today we had our former coach in BBQ, so I really wanted to win them. Then the coach might have a lot of information about you guys. Yes, so we try to bring some new compositions. Speaking of the composition, the supporter Ornn didn't really work out well last time, but today I think he showed a great performance. But Ornn wasn't a really important champion today. What really important was me and Seonghwan. And Seonghwan, how was today's match? They were in the lead in the early games with Zac jungle. Well, actually, I feel quite comfortable during the games. I've heard that someone came in really early today, so you had to be waiting for the end all day long. I'm the guy who wants to be at the place 30 minutes earlier, so I have to just wait outside, and it was really cold. So the coordinator came in and picked me up to the hotel and do a makeup in there. So, are you satisfied with everything today? Yeah. Sangyoon, you said this year your goal is to go to the Worlds. Do you think there are high possibility of going to the Worlds? Thinking of today's performance, I am satisfied with the last match, but the first and second set wasn't really that good, so I think I have to get more improvements. What about you, Seonghwan? Well, first of all, I'm really happy that we won the game, and today our mid laner, Lava, wasn't really feeling well. He had a really high fever, so he went to hospital last night. So I really want to say thank you to Lava for maintaining his mental fortitude and performing throughout the games today. Well, it was a really great performance from Lava despite of his bad condition. Speaking of Mighty Bear, I think he has his anniversary, but Sangyoon isn't really that interested. Well, congratulations and hope he stays as a team forever. A lot of people have been praising your play from last match with SK Telecom. Then, how do you rate your play from today? The last match? I had the feelings recently that I have come to a certain level. So I believe that if I just try harder a little bit more, I think I'm going to be a best player. It is true that a lot of your fans have expected a little bit more from your performance. Well, back in the days, our scrims were really going well. We even lost against some amateur teams, so our head coach told us to do some special homeworks. It's a secret, but I think everyone has completed their works, and that is what made us improve a lot. So I guess the special homework really worked out for all the ROX players very well. Some of your fans out here had a flashcard saying "Sangyoon, marry me." How do you feel? I'm really happy. And lastly, thank you to all of your performance. I think you guys have become one of the stronger teams in LCK. Is there anything you want to say to all the LCK viewers? I have to say we were underperforming a lot before, but I'm gonna keep on practicing and exercising, so get improvements throughout the season. I will try harder throughout the season to make it to the Worlds. Thank you. And this was the end of the interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sung, for that translation. We are going to go ahead and look at some of the highlights from game number 3. This is what happens when you pick a mid and a AD that can't get away from the heavy engage of ROX Tigers.
Yeah, Ghost just got slammed again and again and again. He had so little gameplay in this game because he was just knocked up and stunned and snared for the entirety of it. Unfortunately, though, that was the early pick. So the Taliyah was the pick in the second round where this draft had already come together. So that's the part where we start waggling our fingers about no when it comes to the BBQ draft. So Ghost was kind of the acceptable loss. Tempt being a non-factor is more on Tempt and the coaching staff for going with the Taliyah as Seonghwan's manliness again and again and again.
He sees Ghosts and he ults
every
Ghosts.
Highlight clip from now on. Watch.
Easy.
Apart from this Baron situation.
Yeah, the one fight where he doesn't do it, you're like, watch.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the Zac was taunted, but of course could still have smited there.
Yeah.
Only suppression will interrupt a smite. But
Sees
every other fight, it's like
Ghost.
under a turret, why not? Let's go in. I'll just ult. Sometimes you flash ult and then EQ'd out because it's like, why can't I tank the turret forever?
Yeah.
But I did my job, I ulted. And yep, Seonghwan, nice stuff. And ROX Tigers, really quick. It's almost like they had a quality, hour of League of Legends, 70 minutes of League of Legends, but that's all they needed to actually push down BBQ, who was so close to coming into KT with a massive head of steam. But the so far means they're going to definitely have a topsy-turvy. There's still a lot of seasoning for BBQ to get to the next level.
Finally, the Tigers have won, is what it says up top. They take the 2-1 victory, a close one over BBQ. And even a longer game in game number 2 went to 50 minutes. They kind of snuck that one away from BBQ right at the end. A couple of key mistakes from BBQ and just, keeping your cool from the ROX Tigers. So got to be happy to win this one. They showed a decent couple of games up against SKT as well.
And every team this week plays 3. So ROX Tigers picking up a win here. They still have 2 more matches to play in this hellish 6 days of LCK. It's a very intense schedule against the best teams in the world. The end result is, look at this table. The difference between 2, 2nd, and equal 8th, so 9th, 2nd and 9th, is literally game score. Everyone there is 1-1, so we have complete parity after now every team having played 2 best-of-3s. Only KSV and MVP are outliers to what is otherwise a pretty equal table.
Yeah, coming into this, not for everybody, but perhaps some of the bigger teams, the better teams like Kingzone, SKT, you would expect them to be up at 2-0, even KT Rolster, but they've kind of fallen to 1-1. And then other teams like BBQ and ROX, they've gotten that win in the first 2 games, which really makes it here. Really, the only 2 outliers are KSV, the world champions, makes sense, and then MVP, who haven't really changed much, kind of playing that archaic style, are just down at the bottom.
I mean, you look at this and say one thing, which is the value of a 2-0 has risen this season. There's probably not going to be this level of parity among 8 spots on the ladder, but it certainly is, to some degree, the most competitive start to the season we've ever seen. We return tomorrow will be myself and Atlas over at OGN. IgNar versus MVP, so that's going to be kind of cementing where the seasons are going. We'll just be MVP starting 0-3 before. Certainly one of the biggest matchups in any esport in Korea. It's a telecom war, KT Rolster versus SK Telecom T1.
IgNar versus MVP is kind of just like the opening act, right? The warm-up to let the real rock stars come out on stage. And I know I'll be watching from home that matchup. Should be a really fun one. The 2 Aussie boys going to be bringing you guys that one. So we're done today. We had a longer game today. I didn't get to do any crazy 94-minute shenanigans like
not quite.
Achilles got to, but would have been fun. It
was still fun, and ROX Tigers, their season suddenly takes some shape. It's still seem to be cementing on not Kuzan, so that's the biggest surprise that Kuzan's not starting.
They're like, Lava is so sick, but he went to the hospital yesterday, but he's here to play all 3 games instead of Kuzan
Kuzan's like,
today.
really? Come on, man. What do I have to do?
They're like, we gotta play Lava. We cannot play Kuzan.
It worked.
It's weird.
His Galio's pretty sick. I'll tell him that much.
It is.
Will we see more Galio in the future? I think Porn was watching this being like, wait, I remember Galio. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
BDD's like, maybe.
Maybe. Full AP Galio? Maybe
That's
not.
my new dream. I'm loving it.
I don't know. Like, do you think the damage really helped him out? Like, would the extra tankiness have been better in any way?
You have AP ratios on tankiness now as well, so I think it's certainly something to play with. We saw both sides of it. The AP side definitely convinced me more, but interesting day of League of Legends. 5 games, not quite as extended as the one we had previously, but this is intense week. That's 1 out of 6 days for me. I'll be back for every day of this week. And we still have 3 Spo TV match days for the first time ever.
That we do. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here at Spo on Friday and Sunday, but make sure to tune in tomorrow. Wednesday, you got the Telecom Wars. But until then, we'll see you next time.
계속해서 하루도 빠지지 않고 LCK 경기가 있는 아주 풍성한 주가 되겠습니다. 계속해는 경기 속에서 더 많은 즐거움 그리고 더 많은 만족감 얻어가셨으면 좋겠습니다. 저는 금요일 4시 50분에 다시 인사드리도록 하겠습니다. 함께해 주신 여러분 고맙습니다.